Dear conference hosts,
the Global Conference for Women in Maritime Organizing Committee and the Lee Convention Limited. Conference sponsors: the Korea Maritime Industry Association, the Korea Ports and Harbors Association, and the Korea Leisure Network. Conference supporters: WISTA Asia Regional Chapter and the International Federation of Commerce and Industry. Dear participants, ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to address a keynote speech at the opening ceremony of this important conference, entitled 2021 Global Conference for Women in Maritime. The conference covers several important topics, namely women in leadership, maritime security, work-life balance, and women in trade. Let me first start with the topic on women in leadership. Across the world, we have witnessed more women taking positions as heads of governments, ministers, leaders of international organizations and private entities, as well as important roles as scientists, engineers, pilots, seafarers, doctors, judges, among others. More importantly, public awareness of gender equality is on the rise. Gender equality, Goal 5 of the 17 United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, seeks to achieve equality and empower all women and girls. It is designed to be a blueprint to achieve a better and more sustainable future for all. In 2019, empowering women in the maritime community was selected as the World Maritime Day theme by the International Maritime Organization. And the United Nations celebrated this year's World Ocean Day on 8 June 2021 with the theme Gender and the Ocean. However, we must also acknowledge that we are still very far from equal rights and equal opportunities for everyone, between men and women, and particularly in leadership positions. The lack of women's participation and representation in the maritime and ocean sectors have traditionally been dominated by men. Women today still account for about 1.28% of the total seafaring population. The latest Global Ocean Science Report 2020 revealed that women continue to be underrepresented in ocean science, particularly in the highly technical categories. More importantly, the level of female representation varies significantly from country to country. Female ocean science personnel range from about 7% in the Democratic Republic of the Congo to 72% in Ireland of all ocean science personnel. Let's also talk about women's leadership in the digital age. Digital transformation involves the reshaping of the very context and the structure of organizations. These have strong implications for leadership and its practices and theory with regards to leaders, their capabilities, and how they implement this change. Two important areas are highlighted in order to make progress with respect to digital transformation. The first is leadership capabilities, and the second is operationalizing and implementing digital transformation. Leadership capabilities that are considered necessary for success are described as the ability, and I identify a list of elements, the ability to create a transformative digital vision, to energize employees by engagement, to focus on the digital governance, and to build technological leadership. Digital governance is the process of steering a company's digital activities towards the strategic vision while building technological leadership, entailing the enabling and merging of IT leaders with the present business model. Are these leadership qualities relevant to the maritime industry? I would say a definitely yes. Yes. In fact, digital transformation and women's leadership are important for this conference discussions. They relate to how can maritime security be strengthened with technological leadership? How can technological leadership facilitate a better work-life balance? And how can women lead digital transformation? The second topic of this conference deals with maritime security. Women and maritime security is an important topic in the industry as well as in the international community. The UN Security Council met at the United Nations headquarters in New York on the 21st of October 2021 to discuss women, peace and security agenda as the world remains in a state of crisis, almost 2 years into the COVID-19 pandemic. Violence, conflict, political and humanitarian crises have displaced 82.4 million people from their homes. 115 million people are living today in extreme poverty, and 100 million do not have enough to eat, up from 77 million last year. Against this background, women continue to be underrepresented in the COVID-19 response and other decision-making fora, although women's labor, paid and unpaid, and their leadership in communities keep families cared for. The UN Secretary General's 2021 report on women, peace and security makes an urgent call for action. Action to reduce military spending and to increase investment in peace building, in education, in health, and in other public programs. Reversing the upward trajectory in military spending is a priority for the women's movement for peace and a core commitment of the United Nations. The UN peacekeeping operations accounts for only 0.3% of global military spending and places a strong focus on delivering on women, peace and security commitments. Taking this international vision on women, peace and security, what is the role of the maritime industry? We often talk about security as an extension of maritime business, often in the context of risk management. The maritime industry, however, has a huge potential to invite women in maritime to respond to the complex maritime security challenges of our time. As stated earlier, digital transformation requires everyone's involvement. Therefore, it is crucial to include women in the discussions and to help lead the agenda. The third topic in this conference is about work-life balance. Private sector performance on gender equality varies widely depending on country, on sector, on company size, as well as corporate leadership and culture, with small and medium-sized enterprises experiencing the greatest challenges. The private sector, including employer and business membership organizations, plays a central role in fostering and enabling an environment in which women can meaningfully participate and thrive in the economy through proactive, transformative, and measurable workplace policies and practices. Company policies are key in complementing, strengthening, and enhancing national laws and policies and help stimulate transformative change within societies. Statistically, gender diversity is a predictor of increased profits and productivity, 62.6%, an increase in recruitment and retention, 59.7%, greater creativity, openness, and innovation, 59.1%, enhanced company reputation, 57.8%, and the ability to better gauge consumer interest and demand, 37.9%. When employees feel that they will be valued equally, they are more likely to feel safe in making their unique contributions and are more likely to remain with a company. A commitment to equal pay for work of equal value also benefits companies. By making this commitment, a company attracts talent and experience, a much higher retention rate for women employees. Closing the gender gap helps increase the performance and the productivity of the workforce. It also contributes to increased growth and sustainability for companies and the economy at large. A proactive approach to ensuring employees' work-life balance, including in times of crises, promotes the well-being and equality of a company's workforce and enhances the company's bottom line. Research by the Boston Consulting Group finds that most businesses with paid family leave report a positive return on their investment in implementing the policies. Employers reported benefits such as improved employee retention, the ability to attract the best talent, reinforced company values, improved employee engagement, morale and productivity, and enhanced brand equity. Similarly, over 90% of employers that offered paid family leave benefits found that the impact was positive or neutral on costs. These positive effects are probably linked to improved employee satisfaction, which enhances recruitment and retention. A survey found that 77% of workers agreed that the availability of paid leave can affect where they choose to work. A study by the International Finance Corporation showed that the provision of childcare benefits increased employee retention and made for better recruitment, higher productivity, and improved reputation. An ILO study also showed that small investments by small and medium-sized enterprises in supporting breastfeeding yielded returns on investment by maintaining employee retention and satisfaction. Trade can dramatically improve women's lives, creating new jobs, enhancing consumer choice, and increasing women's bargaining power in society. But women's relationship with trade is complex, as can also lead to job losses and a concentration of work in lower skilled jobs. In order to enhance and ensure that trade provide opportunities for everyone, regardless of gender, policymakers should assess the potential impact of trade rules on various groups of people and develop policy responses based on evidence. According to the World Bank report on women and trade, it is noted that trade can expand women's role in the economy, decrease inequality, and improve women's access to skills and education. The key findings include, and I quote, exporters could employ more women. In developing countries, women make up 33% of the workforce of exporting firms, compared with just 24% of non-exporting firms. Trade creates better jobs for women. When women are employed in sectors with high levels of exports, they are more likely to be formally employed in a job with better benefits, training, and security. Trade increases women's wages as well as economic equality. Developing countries that double their manufacturing exports, a typical increase for developing countries that open themselves to trade, would also see women increase their share of total manufacturing wages from 24% to 30% through a combination of increased employment and higher salaries. Based on the evidence, what can we do? Let me talk about our contribution as WMU. We have to continue the fight for women's empowerment at all levels and in every field, in every sector of the economy. A crucial tool is to achieve this through education and training. I am very proud to say that at WMU, during the 37 years that it has provided education, over 1,100 women, female graduates of WMU have gone on to work in various government agencies and in national institutions. Many of them hold very senior positions, which is an important indicator of progress. Currently, we have a 35% women intake for a master's degree in maritime affairs at our campus in Malmö, Sweden. We are continuing to work with our donors to provide more fellowships for female students. I would like to extend my sincere gratitude to the hosts and supporters of this conference, the stakeholders and the industry partners of South Korea, who are very important supporters of WMU. 2021 is a very important year for us, our WMU community. The United Nations Decade of Ocean Science for Sustainable Development began this year, developing scientific knowledge, building infrastructure, and fostering relationships for a sustainable and healthy ocean. At WMU, we are committed to making a contribution to the Decade of Ocean Science through education, through research in maritime and ocean sciences. As part of our contribution to the decade, we at WMU will continue to promote gender equality in ocean science. Our research and capacity building programs on empowering women for the United Nations Decade of Ocean Science for Sustainable Development was officially endorsed by IOC UNESCO. Through this program, we are committed to contributing and facilitating the empowerment of women in the conduct of ocean science, as well as in delivering science-based decision-making processes in ocean governance systems. We work closely with the maritime and ocean industry partners. Without the industry, there are no jobs. Because there are jobs and talent demands that we as educators can contribute to resource the best talent needed for future maritime and ocean industries through education and research. Investing in young leaders, particularly women, will lead to a sustainable future for maritime and ocean industries. We are always opening our doors to our industry partners who wish to sponsor young talent to study at WMU. Are we ready to take on the challenge? Yes, we are ready. But we need role models. We need you to engage with WMU to make it possible. Yes, we can. Yes, it is possible. Yes, we must. Thank you.